But if I take a very simple Word document, very clearly not a regulatory compliant document, but it does highlight some kind of common formatting issues. The first thing is, many of you will have templates in place where you define the styles of text that you want to use, the fonts, the sizes, all of those things. So the first thing is very easy for an author, quite often, unless if it's locked, it's very easy to kind of deviate from those styles. So it may be that this text isn't even the right fonts according to the template that's in use. So this is Calibri 14. You still have links potentially to external websites that you don't want. You have maybe padding spaces in headings, which are just minor things, but again, they create a not particularly clean rendition at the end. You have bookmarks, sorry, headings that are out of sequence, 1, 3, 4. You have empty paragraphs in here, watermarks behind the page. You got a table that's not fitting the page width. You've got, strange fonts being used for some reason, and you've got comments in the document, and maybe images not in line with the text. So just some common formatting issues. This is just a very simple example. But what I want to do is leverage, I'm going to show you here in SharePoint how I could, that document is stored here. Whenever that document is created or a new version is created, this could happen automatically for me. What I'm going to do is just literally turn an option on to say, I want to validate it, quickly check a box there. But that could happen automatically, depending on the repository you're using. This could happen when you reach a certain lifecycle state, or when you just create a new version of the document, whatever it may be. So this is now gone to be, I've said I want to validate this content. And what I want to do is I actually want to create a report to see what my issues were. And I also want to create a fixed version of the document. So what I got are two things. I've got a report that tells me how it analyzed the content, what it analyzed, and what it found. So if I open this up, I can see that I've got, if I just zoom in a little bit, so hopefully you can see it. Let me come up here to 100. I'll make that a little bit bigger, sorry, 125. So you see some information about the document, how many checks were run, because you don't have to enable all the checks. At different points in the life cycle, you can check different elements of the file. You then see a summary table of all the checks that were ran. So it found blue text that's not linked. So you may, in the Word document, have blue text that isn't actually set as a hyperlink. In this case, there's none. You've got, let's look at some of the ones where we've got empty paragraphs. I've got 9 empty paragraphs, and it was able to correct 9 of them. So you may have some checks where you see how many issues was identified, how many it was able to correct, and how many were left unresolved. So again, some checks you can resolve. There are some, for example, where you've got images with incorrect style. We can identify it, but not potentially fix it. So we identify it, and then somebody has to go and actually manually perform that change. But as much as possible, as I say, you can potentially identify and fix if you need. So you've got various kind of issues that you're looking for, hyperlinking, bookmarking issues, and so on. And it's telling you everything that it's found in that document. Full list was in the last session, so you can see a full list out of everything that can be performed. You get that summary at the beginning, and then in the report, you then see in detail exactly where the issues were found. So character formatting was applied. So somebody's, formatted characters, perhaps deviating from what was expected from the template, for example. And it kind of gives you a description of the check here. Then it tells you everywhere where that occurred. And it tells you this happened in chapter 1, the first heading, the text first heading in chapter 1. It was able to correct that issue, and it removed the character formatting. So it reverted it back to what was defined in the template. Does that for every single check and fix it performed. Comments present, so it was able to remove. Empty key properties, empty paragraphs, it was able to remove. Okay, so all of these things were done automatically. If I close this down, so that's the report, which is great, but it's also able to generate this fixed version of the document. So if I download this, because it's easier to view if I open it in Word directly. So I then have, on the left was the original document, and on the right is my fixed document. So you can see already the layout slightly different, and that's partly because, for example, here the author had changed the kind of the main body text to 14, which isn't what was expected in the template. So the first thing is it's actually adjusted that back to the rule set in my template, 11. It's removed these links to external websites. It's removed these padding spaces. My heading numbers are now in sequence. My tables fitting the page width. As I say, empty paragraphs removed, watermarkers removed. And on the second page, I've got, yeah, again, the fonts have been adjusted where somebody was using incorrect fonts or non-compliant fonts. Images are now in line with text and so on. So again, just very quickly, comments removed, showing you how it could automatically analyze for issues and automatically fix them too.